will the playoffs be too big for Brock Purdy? I mean, he's been great this year, but he's also had some meltdowns in games that weren't playoffs.
Okay. I'd like to backtrack a little because this is an interesting topic. And I put on Twitter X this morning that one of our topics is, could the playoffs be too big for Brock Purdy? It was a question. It was an interrogative. Any number of people got angry at me. How could you say that? He took us to this, he did that, and you're already like asking a question was somehow attacking a saint. That
Right.
I didn't say he's not big enough. I raised the issue. I'm
Saint
a
Purdy?
journalist. Saint Purdy.
Saint Purdy.
Saint Purdy on a white Charger.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that you're no longer allowed to ask a question. It means if you ask a question, you don't know football, you're a bad person, and you get run out of town. I got to tell you, my whole 40 years of being a sports writer was to ask questions. If you're angry at me, I'm sorry. My answer is, I tend to think nothing in the playoffs will be too big for him. I'm not coming to the Super Bowl yet. Let's put the Super Bowl aside. What they're going to have to face in the NFC, I don't believe anything is going to be too big for him. I think he's confident. I think he's very skillful at seeing what's open, delivering the ball fast, and staying out of trouble. And he's very accurate. He throws a really catchable ball. He is an absolute pleasure to watch. Having said that, he had a 3-game losing streak, which I find incomprehensible, but he did. And then when he had what I would call a playoff game against the Ravens, he was horrible. He was not up to the moment. Now, wait, a lot of people out there are saying, well, sure, that first pick was a bad throw, but the others, there are excuses. And Kyle did that. Some of the players did that. And a lot of the kiss the tush media did that. Well, the other 3 he threw 4 picks. That's not good. You can't excuse that. And you talk about the ones that weren't picks that should have been.
Yeah, he threw 2 that should have been picks that were fortunately dropped. So don't talk about unfortunate events if you don't want to acknowledge the fortunate events you had.
Didn't he hit one guy in the face mask?
In the face mask. It's a really accurate pass to the defense.
Yeah. So he had a horrible game. He was not up to it when it came to a playoff game. And I know it wasn't a playoff game, but it was against an AFC team.
Yeah.
And in fact, the best AFC team. He was not up to the moment. So I think there is cause to ask the question, and it's not rude to ask the question. So we come to the Super Bowl. Iggy, first of all, do you agree that he'll be poised and play well in the NFC part of the playoffs?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
I feel like Brock's a little different than he was last year. Last year, he was just trying to prove that he was an NFL starter. He wasn't doing too much. He was managing the game. Now he's an MVP candidate, and he's on a mission to prove that he's more than a game manager. I asked him, do you consider yourself a game manager? He said, I don't want to answer that question. He apparently told Mark Schlereth, people that think I'm a game manager either don't watch the film or don't know what they're watching. I have a gunslinger inside. Like I'm a gunslinger. That's what he thinks. And I disagree. Got a stat for you this year. When he doesn't throw an interception, the Niners are 10-0. When he does throw an interception, the Niners are 2-4. That to me screams game manager. Yeah, he makes some nice plays, but your job is to not turn the ball over. Any good plays you make is icing on the cake. Your whole job is don't turn the ball over because your team is undefeated when you manage the game properly. So he needs to do that.
Okay, I love it.
When Ving Rhames is giving Bruce Willis that whole pep talk about taking a dive, pride.
Yeah.
Talking about pride with Brock Purdy, man. You don't need to prove that you're a gunslinger. You need to just not turn the ball over and be modest and conservative especially in the NFC playoffs.
I love it.
Yeah. Don't let
pride. Pride proceedeth the fall.
Proceedeth.
Proceedeth.
Yeah.
Iggy, Super Bowl. Are you convinced that in the Super Bowl against, say, let me name teams, possible teams, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Cleveland, that he is up to the moment?
How could I possibly know? Like last year, he played well in 2 playoff games at home, wild card and divisional rounds. Those aren't the biggest games in the world. He didn't make it through the first drive of the NFC Championship game. Maybe that was unfortunate. And then in really the Super Bowl of the regular season this year, Christmas night against the Ravens, he melted down spectacularly. So if he makes it to the Super Bowl, I don't know.
Well, let's say this. If he makes it to the Super Bowl, and I expect the Niners to make it to the Super Bowl.
Me too.
If he makes it to the Super Bowl, that's one of the every game has a set of questions, and we learn. One of the questions will be, is he up to the moment? And the point is, Grant and Lowell are not saying he's not up to the moment. So please cool your jets. We're not saying
question.
We're saying it's a question,
Yeah.
and it's a fascinating question, which probably will get answered. And I am open to either answer.
Yes.
Because I don't root.
You can't act like you absolutely know what Brock's going to do in his short career.
No.
He's had some stinkers in big games.
And what I want to say is I do believe there is a certain percentage of people who cover the Niners who, if they were on our show now, would say, oh, he's great. He's going to, be the MVP of the Super Bowl right now without even knowing which team they're going to play. That's what I feel. That kind of bothers me.